Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, today we've got a bit of a Duet Night Abyss guide video ready to go. And the focus for today's guide video is actually going to be on how absolutely broken a certain character on the roster actually is. And this is the reality that's going on over here. To unlock Psyche, the newest limited unit in Duet Night Abyss, you actually have to go ahead and complete one of the endgame modes, the Immersive Theatre. And one of the troubling things about the Immersive Theatre, once you get past the classic repertoire, which is kind of like the introductory beginning stages, is the fact that there's a bit of an attribute preference going on, right? An elemental preference. You're seeing over here, you're supposed to use Pyro over here, and then you want to use Anemo on the other side. And so what that means is that a lot of people might struggle to actually clear this mode because they don't really have a Pyro DPS on their account. And the thing is, a lot of people can think about using Margie, right? But the thing is, Margie's a bit more of a sub DPS. She's a bit more of a support. She's a unit that has a lot of built-in team buffs that aren't necessarily the best thing for actually an on-field DPS character. You can see she just gives a 45% attack boost to the team, and then she also gives a 40% attack boost to everybody else on her third passive ability over here. And so she's kind of meant to be the teammate that you bring alongside you, not the actual main DPS character. And what I wanted to focus on was my cheat code for completing the Immersive Theatre. And that's actually going to be Yale OIiver. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you might not have thought that I would want to play a character like this, but I didn't want to spend my secret letters on Lynn. And the way that you can acquire Yale OIiver is really simple. You just go on over to combat. You go over to Nocturnal Echoes, and you can just farm this guy from the Crystallo file. You can just farm this guy starting at difficulty level 50. And I only claimed 4 out of 5 of the weekly rewards to get enough secret letters to actually farm him. Because, well, you typically want around 20 to 21, 25 at max, I would say, to earn a character. I got about 21 letters, and I was able to get him, unlock him, get him ready to go at dupe level 0. And so that's the process of what I did to actually acquire him. You just would go over, right, use some of your retries to actually, you know, farm the secret letters needed for him. Go actually farm them via the covert commissions. And, well, you can see over here, it doesn't actually require a crazy amount of investment to kill this guy at level 50, and you can get up to 3 to 5 letters each time. So I did that. I unlocked the character. Now let's just talk a little bit about why he's so damn powerful.
OIiver would be much better at fighting than
Okay,
me.
you talk too much. One of the big benefits of OIiver is the fact that as a character, he's meant to max out his skill damage, his skill range, and his skill efficiency. And a weapon that you actually get when you start out the game is Wainwraith. And this thing, as you can imagine, right, it just gives skill damage. And so he essentially comes equipped with a potential best in slot, not really best in slot because his preferred weapon type is different, but a good polearm with a skill damage effect that he can make a ton of use out of. And that's pretty damn solid. You're probably going to want to pair that with a weapon that increases like your skill range. Unfortunately, I don't actually have any of those. I only have skill duration, but that would be a way that you can improve it as well. Get something like Soul Rend that increases your skill range, because what this guy does is he drops bombs on enemies and they deal a shit ton of damage, and then he can stack up the bombs as well for when a boss appears. And that's like this ability over here, his Nightmare Lab. He basically spawns this, and then every bomb that he tries to explode, it just stays on the field until he detonates them all manually. While when he just uses them normally, he'll just float around and then the bombs will explode like that. So, yeah, he's pretty damn good. Now, what I want to do is actually showcase to you what he looks like when he's only at level 50 against level 60 enemies in the Immersive Theatre. And this Immersive Theatre run is incredibly important for one specific reason. It's because this is the one that unlocks a majority of Psyche's letters. You'll notice that when you go from star levels 22 to 30, and these are the hardest ones to get out of this track, you start getting 2 letters for each 2 stars versus the one that you were getting before. And this by itself is one of the biggest sources of your secret letters for this character, and it's how I was able to unlock her just 3 days into the game. So we're just gonna go ahead, go over to Act 3, and just talk a little bit about what's going on over here. I'm gonna reset so I can actually show you the characters that I'm using and why I'm using them. We'll talk about it, and then we'll just showcase the run. So we got that going. Now let's take a look. So I'm putting in OIiver naturally as the DPS. He's going to be using Wainwraith, the polearm that gives skill damage. And then he's also just going to be using this random weapon over here. It doesn't really matter what I'm using because, well, I don't have anything that buffs skill range or skill damage in this slot. So it's just a bit of a cop-out. I'm also using just a level 1 Geniemon that buffs pyro damage. And that's like it. Very, very low investment over here on this side. I'm then going to be using the MC in the main slot for support character number 1. And the reason for that is because the MC actually has a lot of built-in damage buffs in their kit. I think I can go ahead. I'll just go ahead and showcase the characters that I'm going to be using. The MC has like a bit of sustain as well as increased weapon damage over here. So that kind of just helps like guarantee that we're still dealing a decent amount of damage. And they also deal a healthy amount of damage on their own. But this gives that nice little ultra shield to your teammates and can help keep them alive a little bit longer. Sustain is pretty good in this game because you can end up taking some damage. And then, naturally, in the other slot, I'm going to be putting in Margie. We already talked about her big attack buffs before, but you get this character for free the second you install the game, basically. You just level her up, and you can get, basically, 85% attack increase just from existing. Just from this character existing in the partner slot. So I gotta say, as like a support character, a sub DPS, a buffer, 85% attack just from being slotted in and not actually doing anything is kind of nuts. And you'll see what the impacts are of that in the actual trial run. So now that I've established what characters I'm actually going to be using, now let's go ahead and actually show them off. So, just to keep in mind why we're using these characters, again, this is a Pyro Week stage. We're going to be going against level 60 enemies, and all of our characters are going to be level 50. And so, we have things like, oh, every 5 instances of damage dealt by an ally grants one stack of skill damage. That's why OIiver is so good here, because he mainly does skill damage. They also take less damage from melee weapons, and they also regenerate part of their shield every 3 seconds, so you want to be doing constant damage to them. They also gain this invincibility thing. It's only for the bosses, though. We'll talk about it when it occurs. But yeah, he's the perfect character for a stage like this. And if you're struggling to get Psyche, because you're struggling against this stage, he is the perfect unit to use. And so let's talk about why. So in Duet Night Abyss, when you're under-leveled relative to your enemy, you just deal a fuck ton less damage to them. It's almost illegal how much damage reduction there is when you're under-leveled. And so do keep in mind that we're going to be working against those resistances this entire time. So let's go ahead. Heroes Odyssey. Let's give it a try and just talk about why this guy is so cracked. All right.
Experiment's about to begin.
So we go ahead, we start the stage.
Careful.
And you're just going to post up with this guy in the air and start dropping some bombs. And you're going to notice, wow, these bombs are they're kind of just one-shotting everything. And while the gameplay might not be necessarily what you're most excited about when you start queuing up Duet Night Abyss, sometimes when you're just trying to clear, you'll do whatever it takes to clear. That's actually why I just ended up pulling this character anyways, or grinding for him. And the end result, as you can see, is you're hard to hit because you're in the air. You can just use your dodges that refresh every couple of seconds. And basically just, like, absolutely trivialize the entire stage because his AoE is so massive. And again, this is without having any skill range upgrade modifiers and stuff like that. You could just get better demon wedges, better weapons than I do, and probably have an even easier time clearing this stuff out. Probably save some of your resources that way too. And you're seeing over here, the enemies are red because they're level 60. They're so much higher level than me, and I'm still literally just dropping these crazy damage bombs on them. You're noticing that I'm not using my ultimate. That's because there's not really a reason to. Because A, what 2 bombs is enough to kill like every mob, and B, that's more so for bossing. It's gonna like delay the explosions. So I kind of just want constant explosions over here, because I'm playing, you know, to just clear mobs and not necessarily for the boss content. But you'll see what I do in the boss content once we get there. We might be happy to like skip around and stuff, but that's essentially what all these stages are. It's just me staying up in the air and then dropping a fuck ton of bombs on the enemies. That's it. No difficulty at all. However, there is a slight caveat as you get to the later stages. The enemies start dealing more damage, and some people might be tempted to just do this, right? You can jump in between each bounce, and you might be like, hee, I'm just gonna go all the way up to the cap. I'm gonna go up to the ceiling. That way, they'll never touch me. And while they will never attack you while you're doing this, they will attack your teammates. And without you being there to split some of the aggro, like I am right now, your teammates can just die because they're getting focus fired by every single mob, and there's only 2 of them, when usually there's 3. So be a little bit careful about how often you're goofing around on like the skyboxes, because you can literally accidentally kill your team because you're not splitting enough aggro with them. And with shields in this game that regenerate, be nice. Split some aggro with your teammates, okay? Like, they'll appreciate it, and like, if they die, they stay dead for the run. I had a Margie that got killed in the prior run, and that was catastrophic because that just cuts my attack by 85%. So I want her to be there. And so as you can already see, we're already on trial 4. And that's just how easy this is when you're severely underleveled. And again, believe me when I say this, being underleveled in content like this makes it way harder. So yeah, we're just going in. We're just literally dropping bombs. Boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. No challenge at all. You're noticing we have no sanity problems either. Guys, I've got like I've got barely any sanity regeneration on my characters. My demon wedges are like sus as hell. They're dogs. We'll show you the demon wedges afterwards just to show you that they're not anything crazy. This is just with like barely any investment. And we are absolutely steamrolling this. 30 seconds left when I'm not even like focusing up. And we're on to the boss. And this is where stuff's gonna get spicy. So, you remember what I talked about before, right? We all want to save this for bosses, right? That's his ultimate. And you're gonna notice, oh, the shit isn't really exploding. That's because I get to manually detonate it like that later. And boy, oh boy, would you look at that. Oh man, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? So yeah, I'm just gonna leave those over there. And don't worry. We will explode them eventually.
Don't hit me.
And we just exploded them. And you can just see, right? Oh my lord, he's kind of popping off. It's already like half HP. And we're like barely in the clear.
Just you wait.
Sometimes it can be hard to dodge attacks in this game. Don't worry, it's a woo-wah thing. But yeah, this is where you want to be careful with your DPS. Because bosses will, at 50% HP, become invulnerable. And then, well, you got some AoE content you got to do over here. Kill some waves of enemies so that you can make the boss vulnerable again. And guess what this guy is really good at? You guessed it. Clearing AoE content. He's incredibly good at it. And so, yeah, now we're going to do our thing again. And let me see if I can actually line all these bad boys up. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's crazy. And then we're now unfortunately in this iframe phase. He's also basically dead at this point. You want to get in close so that you can dodge these little rings that are going around. This is just the easiest way to go about it. Just run. And then after the first wave, you hide behind this pillar. And what this will do is it'll just tank everything for you. But you don't want to hide behind the pillar too early because it has HP. And you need it to block this one attack that the boss does. This one. It's invulnerable the entire time. And then it'll blow the pillar up. And then you'll just go over here. Summon more of your bad boys. Oh, wait, sorry. Alright, I mean, like, you can already see over here, this is... It's already over. And that is, again, a level 60 boss. With a level 50 team. And that's it. Bro just solos. With the most free-to-play weapons you can get. And so, that was easy as fuck. Especially for content that we're under-leveled in. Let's go ahead and see what the investment was on my end to make this a reality. You can see over here, it looks like he didn't have demon wedges equipped. I'm pretty sure he did. But all I've been doing is just the auto-equip function, right? Just putting on things like wings, get some additional sanity, get some additional HP from Nirvana, get this skill efficiency one over here, and then one or so of these. This is probably not the right one to use. Maybe he didn't have. Maybe he had no demon wedges that entire time. That might have... Wait. I need to go see if he had any. Because if he had no demon wedges and he was doing that, That's actually unethical. No, I think he had some stuff. So this is what they had going equipped into it. Prime, Serenity, Blessing, all like you can see over here. This stuff is like kind of mid, right? It's just a bunch of like random +5 ones that I would get from some drops. It didn't have anything too crazy, too special going on. Like over here on the melee weapon, you didn't even see me use it a single time in the run. All it was basically there for was its passive skill damage buff. But this is some of the stuff that was just there. However, didn't really matter because we weren't really using it. And then this is what was on the shotgun. We did use it a couple of times, but it's not really that great for, you know, what he wants to do. No real skill efficiency, no skill range, no skill damage buffs over there. And that was like it. I would just have like the similar sort of things on all the teammates, just like auto-equipping all of that. And then we would just go on into it and that would be the run. And as you can see, these aren't ones that are hard to get at all. I got these in about 10 minutes of grinding for demon wedges on like the, on these, Noctoyager. In the Noctoyager manual over here, I would just be like, okay, what are some ones that look like they're gonna really help out my overall attack or my crit rate or my crit damage and stuff like that? And I would just grab those. I think the main point is that there's not really a massive amount of investment that's required to get into the Immersive Theater to at least clear up to the featured repertoire and then get yourself enough secret letters, which is, for Psyche, 20 of them to be able to unlock her, because that's how many you get from completing all 30 stars over here. And that was what I needed to fully get all the thoughts needed to actually unlock Psyche. And so I was able to do that. And again, I did this without spending a single secret letter, not a single one, because I just used my other things to be able to grab it. I think that when it comes to secret letters, you have a pity of about 10 to get one of these 10 stack bonuses. I think that's typically what it is. You'll notice that you'll get like the 10 drop as you get to like the 10th completion or the 20th one or like the 9th one or the 18th or 19th one. That's when you'll typically unlock it. So I do think it's like every 10 is when like around like the pity typically is. And so 20 for a character or 21, 22 is around the sweet spot to making sure that you actually unlock them. So that's something to keep in mind. 20 was enough for me, but you might need a little bit more. But yeah, that's my experience with the pity. That's my experience with all of that. And so Immortal repertoire is where stuff's going to get a little bit tricky, because that's where enemies go up to level 70. And I think that this is going to be a lot more difficult. So I'm going to focus on raising my characters to level 60, doing a little bit of grinding over there, and then seeing if I can just go again with OIiver over here and like that lineup that we were using before. And also make sure to bring Psyche into the mix now that we've actually gotten some copies of her. But yeah, we will be trying to tackle the hardest endgame content Duet Night Abyss has to offer now that we've kind of got into the intermediate stuff and gotten out of that pretty easy. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time, ladies and gentlemen, when we do finally end up conquering this. And we'll make sure to have a guide for that one as well. Let me know what you all thought. Peace.